Begin to let some good deep breaths flow through our system. Already starting that journey of moving with our breath, of settling deeper with our breath. So in the yogic tradition, we talk a lot about the spine. They say that true age has less to do with years that you've been on the earth and more to do with how the health of the spine is doing. So today we're going to work on our spine, especially on our posture, really trying to set up muscular strength and set up poses in a way where our spine is trying to grow longer and longer, as well as working on those supportive muscles so that the spine can stay in that good tall place. Now the spine has so much energy traveling up and down at all sorts of chakras, have to do with different parts of the spine. And so you'll notice maybe there's different parts of your spine where it's a little bit more of a struggle. Maybe it's the twists that are hard for your spine, or a lot of people, it's collapse in the heart space. And that can mean a lot of different things energetically, such as I think of teenagers who just don't have much self-confidence and self-worth. They tend to be collapsed in that heart area. So by working physically, the muscles of the posture, helping to lengthen that on the physical, muscular level, imagine it's also helping you out on all sorts of deeper levels, just depending on which part of the spine we're looking at. So with that idea, with this posture idea to help lead us to our class today, we're going to allow ourselves to begin. Start off nice and gentle. The knees come into the chest. Let's take a couple of easy movements so that we get this first chance to check in with the spine. How is the back doing? Which spots are speaking to you in various ways? Beautiful. So from here, we're going to release, placing our feet close to the glutes for bridge pose. And our first way to really feel the spine is taking a few bridge poses just up and down. So with our inhale, you'll scoop the tailbone, scoop the hips. Continue to roll the vertebrae one at a time as high as you can get. Exhale rolls us back down. Exactly repeats. Already using this to check in with the spine. Good inhales. Checking in one spot, then the next, then the next. Return. Let's go through 3 more of those rounds. Going up to 2. And 1. As we allow the hips to settle back down on this last one, let's take it to happy baby pose. So the knees start to come out wide. You can try to grab onto feet. The first couple of breaths are just letting us check in with the very low part of the back, especially. The hips, noticing how that's opening up for us. And to give us a moment to engage through some of the muscles of the very, very low back, what we're going to do, it's natural in happy baby for the hips and the tailbone to be a little bit lifted off the ground. So what we're going to do is a couple of slow pulses. We'll try to push as much of the hips and the low back into the ground as we can, and then ease it back up to a gentle lifted spot. Just finding that gentle length through the low back, building some of the very low muscular strength through that area. Good. Let's take 3 more pulses. We go back to the relaxed version after the 3rd set. What we'll do is we'll tilt ourselves over to the left until that left knee is touching the ground. I'm trying to keep this grip of the right hand on the right foot. See how much you can extend that right leg up to sky. First nice stretch. Soften the knee back open. Start to rock over to the other side, setting right knee down. Left leg starts to extend up. Go back through happy baby pose. Take 2 more breaths. As we start to release, left foot down to the ground. Let this right heel continue to reach straight up to sky. The first thing we'll do here is some pulses with fingers reaching up. We'll use exhale to pulse, trying to touch fingers as close as we can to toes. Inhale relaxes us back down. So this is a little bit of a movement that will strengthen the front part of our core. Remember, the core is also the back muscles, so we'll also include things that help to allow that to be a little bit stronger. We'll just take a few more rounds. Exhale pulses us up. Inhale relaxes us back down. Let's take another 3, 2, 1. And grab onto the leg, pull it in a couple of breaths for a hamstring stretch. Dropping hands on the floor back by our hips. 3 times that right heel will try to rise up to the sky. We do lift the hip off the ground. So 3 times lift that leg as high as you can. Up and down. Some of those good back muscles. Here's 2. And 1 more. As we finish that 3rd one, take figure 4 stretch, right ankle to left thigh. Give a good hug around the left side. Pull it in, feel that hip open up nicely. Sometimes you don't realize how interconnected the shoulders and the hips are. If the hips are off center, off balance, it'll make the whole spine have a weird curvature, to the point where you can see even the shoulders off center, because that's how the body keeps itself in balance with imbalance. And so here, taking moments to open up the hips, open up the shoulders, just helps us to keep the whole system in a little bit more of a placement of length. Send a few more really good deep breaths to this spot. One more inhale. With our exhale, we'll release. We can set the right foot all the way down to the ground. Left leg starts to straighten up to sky. First things first is pulses. Inhale, fingers try to touch up. Exhale, relax back down. The nice thing about this is not only that little bit of core work, but it's also nice through those shoulders. When you reach up, the shoulder blades spread away from one another. You kind of relax back down. we settle to the earth. So feel even that area having length. Helping the posture ultimately out. We're taking another 3, 2, 1. Good. So grab onto the leg, hamstring stretch. Pull it into that good length. Dropping hands to the ground 3 times, hips lift up and down, heel tries to reach up. So inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. 2, 1. And after that activation, figure 4 stretch. Left ankle to right thigh, give it a hug. Another deep inhale. Exhale. As we release the ankle, it might feel nice to take rolling like a ball 3 or 4 times, letting ourselves massage all the way up the spine, roll all the way back. Good. So ultimately, when we're up on the last one, let's settle our feet into cobbler's pose. As we take cobbler and really any forward fold, this is the way that we're approaching it. You start off by anchoring in a way that helps your spine have length, really, really tall spine. You can always stay with the length. If you're ever tilting forward, keep the spine really straight while you're tilting so that you can find how deep the hips are willing to travel with us. And then when you find that moment when you can't release and you can't tilt any further, then what happens is we relax the shoulders and relax the neck down. So it's a comfortable spot. So the difference is a lot of times when people go into forward folds, they just immediately collapse their spine and it's more of a rounded shape from the rib cage area, the thoracic spine, rather than that length in the low back and then just the relaxation over. So you can tell kind of by looking at somebody that's super, super rounded versus just that little bit of release at the end. So take just a couple more breaths right here. From here, rising up, take a little twist. Our right knee will pop up. Left hand or left elbow hooks so that we can spiral over that side. Think of the spine lifting up to twist. So it's not a rounded posture to twist. We're finding length first, and then any amount that length can rotate, that's exploring. Take one more breath on this side. Good inhale. Exhale. Start to release and explore the other half. Up and spiral over the spine. One more inhale. Exhale. Returning forward, slip the legs to simple cross leg. To get to all the edges of the heart, imagine the heart has a cube, and we're gonna try to explore letting the heart really go forward, backward, up, down. And so this moves with our breath. Our hands lead us. So inhale, we rise up. This is the top part of the heart. Exhale, right hand drops to right side, left hand leans up and over. We're stretching that left half of the heart. Inhale, back up. On the other hand, lean over. Exhale. Inhale, back up. Exhale, hug yourself. This gets the back part of the heart. When you inhale next, the heart goes forward and through the front part of the heart. And last, ending with an exhale, fingers down, imagining kind of that low part of the cube. So let's take a few rounds of that. Inhale, top cube. Exhale, lean to one side. Inhale up. Exhale, second half. Inhale up. Hug for the back. Feel that back part of the heart open. And then chest forward and through, front part of the heart. Fingers down to the ground. Let's take 2 more full rounds like that. Inhale. Exhale, side lean. Inhale. Exhale, second half. Inhale. Hug. Press through. Fingers down. Inhale up, last round. Side. Inhale. Second side. Inhale. Hug. Back up. And rest the fingers down. Beautiful. Now leave the left foot tucked in, right leg opens out. Kind of like that twist we were working on. Feel the sternum twist toward that right thigh. And then we find that length to tilt forward. Rather than just collapsing the spine down right away, really tilt as far as you can. Whenever you find that spot where you can't go further sooner or later, that's when we release. Now hands walk through the center. Give a couple of breaths with the shoulders able to be even, extending forward. Back in. Let's let our legs switch out. So first part, sternum turns toward left leg. Tilt the long spine toward it. Sooner or later, when you can't go any further, then it's just the shoulders and the neck that release. And there's little moments where even after the release, you try to ask the spine to go a little longer. And it brings you to a holding spot. Good. So walking through the center, shoulders even, square forward, release down. When we come back up, let's take the bottoms of both feet together, this time going really far forward. We'll take one more stretch that gets us really nicely into the low back muscles. So same approach into it, long spine as we tilt forward. Ultimate release of neck at the end. And then what we're gonna do from here is place your right hand on your right knee. As you start to straighten that right arm, slide your left hand free off to the side. Continue to shift until nose is over that left knee. So feel how this gets us through the low back on the right hand. So breathe to those muscles for another moment. Good inhale. Exhale. Start to release through the center. We'll start to switch it out, left hand to left knee, straighten that side until nose is hovering over the right. Another good inhale. Exhale. Hover back through the center. Enjoy one more breath in the middle. As we ease up, let's take it to a kneeling place. We do a few cat-cows. Really let this be a chance to find the mobility of the spine. See how much you can round up and down. There's reasons why we have the different arches in our back. So this is a chance to really explore and accentuate. And starting from neutral, imagine you're on the inside of a peanut butter jar and your spine's trying to scrape all the edges of peanut butter off. So, spine comes up to the sky, get the top part of the jar, and then jut the left ribs to the left, trying to scrape the side. Belly goes down to scrape the bottom. Right ribs to the right, and then roll up. So take the circle to the opposite direction, going right ribs to the right next. Good. When you finish that complete circle, take one more full round to each side. Good. Back to neutral spine. Leave the hips over the knees. Take puppy pose. Start to walk the hands forward. Some people rest the forehead down, some people do chin. But think of heart trying to lower all the way down. Slide out through Sphinx pose. So chest goes forward, drop the hips to ground. In Sphinx pose, imagine that your hands are dragging toward you without actually letting them move. Instead, that pulls the heart forward and through. Make sure your neck is loose. Sometimes I'll look over one shoulder, look over the other. Or take a moment to tilt the head to each shoulder. Good. And find a little bit of strength going on through the back muscles and through the shoulders. We're gonna push the fingers forward until we can lift the elbows off the ground, going a bit deeper through Cobra, and lower back down. Take another 4, push forward until the lift happens, and lower. 3, 2, 1. Good. Slide the hands in so we can press back to child pose. Take a couple of breaths, letting the spine be super long. As we prepare to go up to down dog, think of the spine being as straight as it possibly can. So that means that we're going to keep the knees super bent while we set the hips up really, really high. And then from that point, we'll start to add little wiggles through one knee and the other knee as the leg muscles start to get us to a spot where we can maintain length in the spine and a bit more length through legs. So feel free to pedal out the legs a little bit. Feel the length of the spine growing taller. Let's take another huge inhale. Nice exhale. Let's work our way up to top of mat. A nice forward fold. We'll even go to the half lift so we can feel that moment with the straight spine. Great, because the half lift is usually already in that tilted forward angle, wherever that is. So So then from here, feel the shoulders and the head release back down, dropping to the forward fold. Next inhale to rise. Good. We'll take a tree pose, trying to set up the spine really tall. So standing on left foot, right leg rotates open. Notice how it would be possible to do tree pose, just kind of collapsed in the spine, like not really needing to do anything. So instead, feel the sensation of length. Sometimes it feels useful to help you think of the spine growing longer by fingers extending. Just make sure shoulders aren't hiking up to ears if you do that. Good. One more inhale. Exhale, roll, release right foot to ground. Left side tree. Again, don't just kind of settle into the shape. Try to find length. Inhale. Exhale, set the big toes close, heels slightly separated. Sitting our hips back like we're going into a chair, the arms sweep up by the ears. So this next motion is not happening by turning the shoulders. Shoulders stay square forward. All we do is drop the right hand down and continue to trace it backward until we feel that stretch on the front of that right shoulder. So pause here for just a moment. We're helping to open up some of those posture muscles so our shoulders don't reach around forward. Good, return the right arm up. Left arm, same thing, drop down. Pull back until you feel the front of that shoulder stretch. And rise. Both arms down. Both pull back. And return. Straighten the legs. Arms pull open like goal post shape. Heart gets pulled forward and through. And then inhale, float the fingers back up. Two more. Open, chest through. Inhale. Last one. Inhale up. Exhale, dive the hands through all the way down to the ground. Come right back up to that half lift. Whatever angle leads to the straight spine. So a moment with that release down. See if hands can touch the floor, if not, bend the knees. And then start to shift back. Taking a child pose, down dog, or a flow, your preference. Once again, just like before, feel the spine super long. Here we'll begin to float the right leg up to the sky. Step that right foot in between hands. Back knee softens down to floor. We're keeping our hips sinking forward, taking our fingers up to that front thigh. Hips are still going forward. And so from here, we're gonna set up a twist. I don't want the twist to be collapsed and rounded. It's gonna be from a long spine. So start to take your left hand to the outer right thigh. Feel how the spine can be long and twisting. So maybe this is where we go. Just right hand behind us. Some people might continue to slide down to the left wrist, left forearm. You're only allowed to get to the elbow if the spine doesn't have to round to get there. Super long spine, whatever length it is. Good. Take another inhale. Exhale, soften out. Float the fingers up to the sky. Drop the fingers to floor. Back toes tuck, the back knee lifts, heel comes down. Setting up in warrior one shape. So fingers float up. Keep the spine growing tall, but the hips trying to go low. It's like these contrasting things, getting our spine to have more length. Take a good inhale. Exhale, rotate open to warrior two. So this next movement we're going to take is helping some of this posture stuff in the upper back. It doesn't look like much, so you probably won't even be able to see on each other what's going on. But the idea is whenever we take an inhale, pull the arms away from each other. So it's trying to get more length in between those shoulder socket areas. And then exhale, just release it right back, kind of plugging it in. So a few rounds like that. Inhale, lengthen, arms away. Exhale, relax. And there's 3, 2, 1. Relax, right elbow to right thigh. As the left arm comes up and over, allow that shoulder to help pull and teach the side ribs how to be really long rather than just kind of collapsed. Back up to warrior two. Then we'll turn all our toes to this long edge. Dropping hands down to the floor right in front of our shoulders. This is the starting spot because most people can set up a really flat spine from this spot. So this might be where we stop, even using blocks if you need to keep the spine really straight here. If you can keep the spine straight, this time you have an option to go kind of like a down dog, walking the hands forward. You'll need to shift the hips back to counterbalance the weight so you don't just fall forward. So it's very little weight in your hands. But keep on feeling that spine getting pulled long forward. Whichever variation, either shoulders stacked over wrist or this blank, we've got the spine long. Another huge inhale. Exhale. Start to walk the hands back in. Bend the knees to roll our spine up. We'll need to pivot both feet toward the top of the mat. We're setting up for pyramid. So if hips didn't come all the way forward with us, shorten the stance until you can be all the way facing front of room, the mirrors. So from here, keep hands on hips to allow hips to stay squared. Keep the spine long as you start to tilt forward. When you get about halfway there, you're safe to drop down to the shin. Maybe this is where you stay. Maybe you continue to find that slow journey, tilting forward, still straight spine. And only when you eventually find the end of your possibility of sliding down with a straight spine, then the slight release can happen in shoulders and neck. Perhaps fingers walking forward or fingers walking backward, that little bit of length. Bending the knees, let's roll our spine up. As we shift our weight onto that front right foot, left ankle comes up to thigh. We bend standing leg. We're dropping our hands to that thigh if we can to help push the hip open for a moment. Let's inhale. Exhale. As we release, we've got big toes close, heels slightly separated. Sit back in fierce pose, arms sweep up. 3 times slowly, the arms trace down. Pause for a moment. And inhale back up. Exhale down through all the way to shoulder stretch. Inhale. One more. Straighten the legs. 3 times goalpost. Elbows pull down, chest through, and up. 2. 1. Good. Inhale. Exhale, dive down, forward fold. Inhale to that half lift angle. Exhale, slide down, relax for a moment. See if the hands plant naturally. If not, bend your knees to plant them. And travel the feet back, child pose, down dog, or a flow. So left leg floats up to sky. Step it in between hands. Left knee can drop down. Keep the hips sweeping forward as we come up to thigh. Start to set up the twist. Maybe it's the hand. And then the spine spirals around. Maybe slide a little deeper, but at any moment that you feel the urge to round the spine, that's where we have to stop. Good. Start to unwind. Float the fingers to sky. Inhale. Exhale. Drop hands down. Back toes tuck. Lift the knee. Drop the back heel down. Warrior 1. Feel the length up as the hips drop down. Inhale. Exhale. Warrior 2. Inhale. Fingers try to pull away from one another. Exhale, slight relax. Another 4. 3. 2. 1. Extended side ankle. Front elbow down. This top arm gets time to teach these side ribs how to be long. Rising up. Turn the toes to the long edge. As we drop the hands down, you can choose option 1, stay right underneath you. Option 2, that down dog shape. Only if you're easily able to maintain length through the down dog shape, maybe you then walk hands under and through your legs. But the goal is not rounding the spine to pull it under. The goal is trying to find more and more length through the spine the whole time. Another good inhale. Exhale. Take hands underneath us, let the knees roll up. Pivot all the toes to the top of the mat, maybe shortening stance to hips forward. Slide down the front leg. Spine is long. Keep on easing down until the spine can't stay long any further. When you reach that point, then there can be that slight release in shoulders and neck. Bending the knees, roll our way up. We're shifting our weight onto our left foot. Right ankle comes up. Push that hip open for a moment. It doesn't want, that's okay. We'll release big toes together, set the hips back. Here's pose. 3 times, exhale back. Go up. 2. 1. Straighten the legs. 3 last pulse the goalpost, chest through. 3. 2. 1. Inhale, float up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands solidly plant. Travel back. Child pose, down dog, or last flow. Good. Wherever we're at, we're going to lower our weight to belly. So this could be plank, kneeling plank to lower down. So just notice, as you press hands into the ground to take even just a half cobra, notice how, generally speaking, it's these low back muscles that are trying to clench to get us to lift. So what I want us to do instead is explore what the upper back muscles helping us lift. So to do that, take the elbows in the goalpost shape, and then it's the upper back that's squeezing to find a little bit of lift. And then lower back down. Inhale, 4. Down. 3. 2. Last 1. Hands pressed down. A couple of breaths in child pose. Our final little exploration before we head toward our last stretches. So playing with dolphin pose, we drop the elbows down. This can either be parallel arms like the figure 11, or one hand can take a fist, the other hand can hug around the fist. We tuck the toes and we want the spine to be straight, just like a down dog. So set the hips up high, even if knees need to be a bit bent. If legs are pretty straight and you have more flexibility to walk the toes, then you're welcome to go with that. And then what I want us to do is lift the heels up, but feel your low back muscles pressing into that to help the hips and the back, the low back especially, stay straight. Lower the hips back, or the heels back down, release. So a couple of lifts like that, heels lift, push the low back into it, then heels down. Take another 3, heels lift, push the low back into it, strengthen that spot, and down, 2, down, 1 last heel lift. Good, lower your knees down to child pose, the arms be stretching forward. Breath slowing down as we're heading to our last few minutes. Find extra length in the spine. Let's walk the hands off the left side of the mat. And then walk off the right side of the mat. Back forward to the center. Take a bonus breath. Blow it in. And out. Good. Walk the hands in to support the spine, lifting back up. We'll come to a seated place. Both legs out in front of us. We want to be sitting tall. So if that means knees need to be a little bit bent, that's perfectly fine. For my body, at least, this is the hardest forward fold of them all, trying to keep both in front. So it may be nice to at least start off or stay with fingers behind you, helping to feel what it is to be sitting up tall. Engaging those nice back muscles. So if you can maintain this kind of length with a tilt forward, you're welcome to start exploring that. See the fingers help to tilt you at first. Eventually transition hands to the shins. Same approach as before. We're keeping the spine long through a slow tilt as the muscles start to relax into it. And eventually, sooner or later, when that's about where the spine wants to go, then we can find the shoulders and the neck relaxing. It's going to be the hands finding the floor. Press into that to help support the spine up so the back muscles aren't needing to clench to lift us. So the knees soften. We find ourselves planting hands behind us, walking back just a little bit so that the chest has another chance to have that open posture, chest forward and that nice counter stretch, that part of our posture open. One last inhale. Exhale. As we start to release, we're going to work our way down to the ground, so make sure there's enough space behind you. Be extra gentle with the back, maybe even just hugging around the knees as you slowly lower down. And then once you make your way here, see what last stretches your body wants. Maybe your spine would love one last little twist, or a last happy baby pose, or plow pose. If there's anything that would help your back feel really happy before Shavasana, this is a good time to take any of those last things. Some of us will be exploring for a while longer. Some of us are just about ready for Shavasana, so no rush either way. When you have a Shavasana, set up your spine in a way that feels really helpful to your posture. So in other words, the length of the vertebrae. So this might mean feet are planted so that low back can have a lot of relief after all the stretching we've done. It might mean your shoulder blades squeezing together, tucking in just a little bit so the chest can be more open. It might mean sliding your head back to set the neck up just a little bit longer. And sooner or later, whenever the spine is in this really good length, imagine your spine as kind of like the rainbow bridge to Valhalla in Thor. Imagine it like that huge energetic bridge connecting these tremendous areas of the body together. It's like joining from the earth in our hips up to the heavens in our head. So as you spend the next few minutes relaxing and breathing, imagine each breath sending more energy in this spine. All it takes is good inhales and exhales. Beginning to deepen inhales here. exhales. Producing little movements back to fingers and toes. Ankles and wrists. Stretching out in a way that feels really good. Perhaps eventually taking a nice fetal position off to one side. Enjoying a few breaths. Another 3 or 4 really good deep rounds until you feel ready to rise sooner or later. We're sitting here, allow the spine to be lengthening, even full centimeters taller. Imagine, even if we didn't add years to our life from a practice like this, imagine we added quality to our life by working on our spine. So with our spine, with our posture, with all the energies that represents to help lead us on, let's wrap up the time we shared together today with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light, happiness, and peace. Namaste.